Welcome to my weekly meltdown. I'm Allison. Oh, that countdown. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just like hypnotizing. I can't concentrate once it starts. Anyway, I'm Allison. Welcome to my weekly meltdown. Hi, Tim. Coverage of the Traitors US Season 2. This is episode 5. Recap. Hello, everyone. We have Tyler, Jackie, Andrew, special guest Simon. Welcome,
Hello.
Simon. Simon
Hi,
is
Simon.
a big Traitors fan. Now, when you say a big Traitors fan, are you US, UK, wherever country it's
Yeah,
playing?
all of the above. Yeah, I mean, I've seen, I think now 10 seasons of The Traitors
Okay.
across
Wow.
like eight different countries maybe. And but what Tyler didn't tell you is I'm an even bigger fan of My Weekly Meltdown. I always watch your show.
Thank you.
I-
See, Simon, this is why you're faithful in my life. Thank you so much. You are too sweet.
Well, I have a question for you, Simon. Tyler
Yeah.
said he was bringing a friend on the show. So how much did he pay you to admit that you were friends with him? Because it's hard to believe that he has those in real life.
Yeah, we're not buying it.
You're telling me you're not all friends with Tyler?
I love Tyler.
Contractual.
Acquaintances.
I have one friend in Jackie. Thank you.
Yeah. If he would ever get like his winner list and stuff right, and like the Parvati Sandra thing, then we might be more friends. But we have too much disagreement to be best.
Listen,
Yes.
Andrew, we can't help it if you're a traitor, bitch.
I'm
Bitch,
always
you're
a
the
traitor.
traitor.
Are there any boiled eggs here
Any?
while we're streaming? I don't know. But like before we get into like the episode recap proper, I just wanted to start off with a few like since we have like a Traitors like super fan in the show tonight. I just wanted to hear like just your general thoughts on like season 2 so far, and also like I would love to hear like how does like the Traitors US compare to like all these international versions that you've watched? Like what are like the big
Simon, let him know. Let him know.
This is your moment.
Oh my God.
Own it.
Well, I mean, I'll start off by saying I really am enjoying this season a lot. Parvati and Sandra are some of my favorite Survivor players, so I knew I was going to love it
Who's
from the
better?
get-go.
Who's better? Who's better?
Well, Parvati is always my number one. So.
I like him.
As for the other international versions of the Traitors, I mean, I think that Traitors is always kind of like some seasons are better than others, so I can't make sort of a sweeping statement. Like, for example, I really loved UK season 1. I thought that UK season 2 was just okay. So it's I can't tell you like one country does it best. Australia season 1. Australia season 1. But Jackie, have you seen Australia season 2?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, see, there's the thing. So there's always some great seasons and some like not as great seasons. But one thing the US does that's really unique is like cast a whole bunch of celebrities. I guess there are other seasons that do that as well. But many or most of the seasons that I've seen they're just normal people on the show.
Do you feel like it's like
nice.
elevating the gameplay, like having these like reality TV like titans playing instead of regular people?
Yes and no. Like, yes, in the sense that they have some of these gamers on, right? Who like think that they're really smart or actually are really smart. Like Suri is like the way that she just like had everyone under her control. Like that was really cool to watch. But it's not as great when it's just like some people are like housewives or whatever. Which nothing against the housewives, but people who they're not like bringing that experience and applying it to the show super like well. Or there's people like, I don't know what show Kevin was on, but like Kevin just seems so out of it. Like he's just so off the mark.
Like, what has he been
Bling
in?
Empire?
The Bling Empire on Netflix, I don't know. He's a total flop. Like if I had to cut like one person from this cast, like Kevin has got to go.
Did
Bling
you know
Empire
that he was an
movie?
actor?
I didn't know. I honestly didn't know a thing about this guy before the show.
Nothing.
You know, piggybacking a little off of what Simon said, though. Simon said, "Oh, I'm gonna make that pun a lot."
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
Simon.
with you, Andrew. Let's do it.
us becoming friends. So what I like about the celebrities is, and again, I'm a huge Mafia player, always have been, Werewolf, all that kind of stuff. I would rather play with people I know than people I don't, because it's easier because you have tells and it escalates and elevates and accelerates the gameplay very, very quickly. So that's what I like about having these people is they're not spending that 2 to 3 rounds getting to know each other and the tells and getting to know that. And we get into instant gameplay because, and you've heard Janelle and I know how Dan plays. I know how Janelle plays. I know how Parvati plays. And then seeing them be like, oh, wait, but this is a different game. So that's what I've liked about the celebrity aspect of it is it's really just, it's not that they're celebrities, but it's that they know each other. And that is allowed for the gameplay to accelerate quicker.
Hi. Hello. Hello. How are you?
We have another visitor here.
Yeah.
Like Andrew, it's certainly like especially with like Parvati and Sandra, and then of course like with like Janelle and Dan too. And we're like I said in the last recap, like we're really seeing that tension like starting to bubble over. And unfortunately it led to like Janelle's demise this episode. You know, she I think she just played a little too strong, and that is classic Janelle and Big Brother, right? Like Janelle's always going to overplay, and we're going to love her for it because she's going to give us good TV every step of the way. But she showed her cards like a little too soon, in my opinion, and Dan was able to capitalize on it.
Do we think these traitors are going to implode? Because it
Oh,
seems like the meetings at the end are getting more and more intense.
It's coming on Thursday. I felt like this was, I hate to say this on an episode where Janelle was taken away, but this was very much a setup episode for me. Very, very much a setup-y kind of fillery episode in the aspect of Kate came in like right before that round table, right? Like all of these things are happening. I thought the challenge was kind of cool. And I kind of enjoyed that with the bird call. It was kind of fun and funny and quirky, but it was very much a setup episode for, yes, like when we see the preview of Dan saying, I'm on someone, Dan is about to call out either Phaedra or Parvati. There's no doubt in my mind he is going to try to vote one of them out and then make it look like he is not a traitor. So I felt like this episode, although good and entertaining, was very much a set up for what's to come episode.
Can I ask a dumb question? Should shock no one. Oh, yes, there are. Trust me. How long have you known me? Listen. Hey. Hello. Where did Kate come from? Was she wasn't on earlier this season, right?
No.
Was she on last week?
She's like she's a twist. Like they're bringing her into the game like halfway through. It does seem like she has some pre-existing knowledge of Dan's capabilities of being a great player. So I wonder if Kate is going to be the one to because he's been getting a lot of heat lately. Is Kate going to be the one to execute the king here? I don't know.
It's just the way she came in. It was just like, did you miss me? And I was like, I don't. Where did you come from? I can't miss you.
She's talking to us, the viewers.
I was puzzled. You know me. Sometimes I get lost in my own head, and I get lost in my own labyrinth that I can't get out. So I've been gone for 2 weeks.
But she comes in hot with one-liners. I mean, my favorite was when Dan was like, Kate, I don't know you, but sit back and watch and see what happens. And she's like, yeah, and you win everything. I know you. And so she's Kate Chastain coming at us hot, and I love it. And she's even saying, I'm not here to win. I'm here to entertain people. Like, she says that. Like, I'm here to stir stuff up.
She's so good at the TV. My favorite line from her when she was like, I'm not taking any wine from poverty.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, she has it clocked already. She just sat down at that table, had zero context, and she's like, Dan, you win everything. Parvati not drinking a single thing out of your cup. But she didn't give any shade to Phaedra. So is Phaedra the one really the most under the radar here out of all the traitors? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Peter went and gave his tea to everyone except for Phaedra. So he has 2 out of 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 out of 3 traitors that he's already clocked. He's not even seeing Phaedra. She's nowhere near.
Jackie, how do you feel like Kate is going to change the game or like influence like the direction moving forward?
I have two brains on this one. First, I understand as a faithful, I want to keep her around because obviously she'll help us out. But why were we not campaigning to revolving door her? I don't understand. You come in, you gotta be a traitor. I need you to go. Peace. You need to. Why are you here? Let's vote her out. It's an easy vote. Let's go, and then we can just go back to the game the way it was. But I think she's gonna. Yeah, they said she's gonna cook. Yeah, she's gonna eat for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I almost wonder, like, because like Alan Cumming, like he said, like, we don't know if she's a faithful or a traitor. Like, if I were a traitor, I like that would like deter me from wanting to take her out because I don't know if I'm like killing one of my own right now. So maybe like that had something to do with it. But then at that point though, I'm thinking like, who at that table is being the most quiet? Like, who is the one like not suggesting to just revolving door, like take her out? Like that might be a clue to who could be a traitor possibly.
I think that we don't revolving door her because again, W don't, right? Like because she could be a faithful still too. And right now we've missed 4 times, so we can't miss again. And then what do? They miss. I think, and I want to make Tyler eat a little crow real quick because it's one of my favorite pastimes.
I'm ready.
Tyler
ready.
Was all
Allison's
over,
ready.
all over how bad Peter Weber was to this show.
No. I said that about Bergie.
And no, you included Bergie, Peter, and Kevin in that conversation. JB, back me up.
I mean, Peter was kind of given a little bit of BJ. He was given a little bit of like, what is the year for?
But this
now
little thing he's cooked up here, this little strategy he's cooked up here, and Dan hook, line, and sinker being like, Parvati's like, I don't think this is smart, and Dan being like, it's gotta be Bergie. When it's like writing on the wall, Parvati's right. You vote for someone that was on the inside. You don't vote for someone that had a chance of getting that shield. Now, that is why I think Parvati is going to be Dan's target this week, because Bergie's going to bring up this whole, or Peter's going to bring up this whole point of, I told X, I told Y, I told Z. And I think Dan thinks if I can get a traitor out, because he's been playing defensive, and he wants to get out of that position. So Dan's going to be like, you're right. And I've been on Parvati since day one. Parvati goes, and then Dan looks like the best faithful around. Unless Parvati turns around and is like, you know what? I am a traitor, and so is Dan. Take us both.
Like, yeah, I mean, like...
No, she wouldn't.
In her faithful circle, she would.
Parvati is like one of her best like skill sets in these games is her ability to like, besides like giving like model face to the camera and doing it so well, right? Is like her ability to sniff out when people are like trying to set her up. Like it reminds me of, this is a very specific reference, but it reminds me of Heroes versus Villains when Amanda tried to lie to her about the double idol, and Parvati like totally sniffed that out and was able to pull the rug from underneath the heroes tribe, right? Like it's the same thing here. Like Parvati is able to sniff out a trap, and it makes me think like, is this like a weakness in Dan's game? Like I've spoken so highly about him so far, but I can't think of like when in Big Brother like somebody has tried to set him up in a trap. Like he's always been like really under control of like the whole game, under the radar, and he just doesn't have that agency this time. So I feel like if like Andrew, if you're right, like if this is like the reason that Dan is the first traitor to go, we will absolutely look back to this moment right here and say Parvati played this well, Dan did not. And I do have to give Peter his roses here, like no pun intended for The Bachelor. But he played it really well. Like he used like this, like the setup of the game to really snuff out some more information here. So great job, Peter. Honestly,
I just want to point out B-Bean's comment.
I'm sorry, I had to go so I could represent. Real quick.
I know.
No, you're good.
I have that too. B-Bean points out a good point. Peter Weber has history of being dumb on The Bachelor. I'm not sure. You know what it is? It's amazing how you have people that totally suck at The Bachelor, Big Brother, and all these other games, and they end up on shows like the challenge and they shine and they end up on the Traitors and they shine. And Andrew, I can't with the headband. I can't look at that. It's hilarious. But anyway, So anyway, I'm not surprised, when he started pulling that stuff out, I was like, I'm impressed. Who else has left Dan speechless? You're at the round table. Dan Giesling, people, had to pull, like, he literally was speechless. Who does that? Peter Weber from The Bachelor? That's not who I thought. And Janelle gets out. It's crazy. And also, I just want to say, Phaedra, I need you. Phaedra, I'm putting a shout out. I need you to call me because I need you. Okay, I got a situation and I need you. And also, I kind of, and I'm just gonna sit down on stage and I'll be quiet. I like it when they mix it up with reality stars and regular people like us because we know kind of what they're up to, but they don't know what we're up to. But there's probably going to be more than us than there are of them, and we can get them out. I don't know. I just like it when they jumble it up a little bit.
Now I'm just picturing, Allison, like you get cast in the Traitors, like half like reality TV stars and half like regular people. And then like you get there and like all the reality TV people are like, oh my God, are you Allison from My Weekly Meltdown? Like I know everything about you.
Okay, I'm not talking about all the people that have been booted first from Big Brother. Okay, that have no currency. That's the people. Those are the big stars that are probably. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's no joke. But if they were to do that, I don't know what I would do. Because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I want to be on a season of the Traitors like this. I want to be with CT. I want to be with Sandra. I want to be around Janelle. Like these are the people that I would love to play with. But I feel like they kind of set the whoever picks who the Traitors will be. Kind of set Dan. I mean, come on. I mean, really, this guy, one of the biggest masterminds of Big Brother, and you're going to pick him to be a traitor and see how much he can wiggle. Mission accomplished. The guy's asshole's wound up so tight, you only dogs could hear him fart during that round table. That was insane to me.
Beth said it last week in the chat, Allison, and I agree. I think in Dan's contract it was, I'm a traitor or I'm not coming.
Could be. Yeah. I didn't watch last week. I don't really watch this show.
That's okay. You're here for the comedy.
I'm here for
Simon, how did you feel about we've talked about the banishment a little bit. We talked about the execution. How did you agree it was down to like Tamra and Sandra and this situation? And then so how did you feel the execution played out?
I've been waiting to see Sandra like really step into her own and like control the game and like call people out, and she has just been really quiet this whole game. And but I agree with what Tyler said last week about there's just keep giving all these like shots, like where they pan over to Sandra when Parvati's in the room, and maybe there's going to be a moment where Sandra calls out Parvati. I'm surprised that Parvati's not worried about that herself. Maybe she thinks that she has some control over Sandra in the game and she wants to keep her in. I don't know.
I thought it was Sandra going. I really did. Like Tamra felt like a wasted kill for me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Phaedra felt like it protected her.
Because
I think that's what it was.
Thing,
like it exactly, Allison. Like I think like after Parvati like calls out like the housewives of it all, right? I think Phaedra had to say like, all right, I'll give up like one of the housewives to like blow some like suspicion like off of me or whatever. So like take out Tamra, like take out like the one that's like really not giving us any, like at least like Dan, Parvati, and Phaedra understand the assignment of like we want good TV. So like these past few kills have been kind of like, let's get out the filler cast, right? So Tamara is like certainly included in that. So like she can go. It's totally fine.
Well, I mean, it could backfire on Phaedra if anyone starts to think again about what Parvati said about, one of the housewives could be a traitor. Now there are fewer of them. So who else is left from the housewives?
Just Phaedra, right? See, I don't watch any of the housewives.
Sheree?
Who? Sheree?
Yeah, Sheree and Phaedra.
But Sheree is like useless too. Like she is like not figuring anything out, right, Jackie?
No, she is definitely giving furniture for real.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's just like right now. I don't think they've split it housewives. I think they've split it like competition shows versus non-competition.
Bravo.
And so like I would say MJ's in that. I would even put I don't know what like Bling Empire is and all of this. Now, and here's a question, and this is I guess for
Does
JB.
anyone know what that is?
Not me.
Chad? Anyone? Bueller? Huh?
My question for JB is, and because I'm not a Housewives connoisseur, I'm not. I don't watch it. But so my question is, because when I'm looking on like the wiki or things, it gives Phaedra credit to Married to Medicine, not to a Housewives show. It says Phaedra is a part of Married to Medicine.
I think she's been on both.
Yeah,
Sorry,
she
Jackie.
started off on Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's the only Housewives show that I'm like really familiar with that I've watched. I think I'm on season 12 now, and I think they're on like season 15.
Jesus. It would take forever to catch up.
Oh, look, I'm still trying. I have hope.
Even I don't have that kind of time, and I do nothing.
But I think what happened was when Phaedra's husband got into all that legal stuff and went to jail and all that other stuff, she separated from the housewives and started to do more legal things with Married to Medicine. Because I think Dr. Jackie, I think is her name. Phaedra and Dr. Jackie are kind of cool. And Dr. Jackie has been on Real Housewives of Atlanta because she did the surrogacy with Candy and her husband. So those shows bleed. They cross over. But yeah, Phaedra isn't even really on Housewives like that anymore. And Sheree, I don't know why she was ever on it to begin with. I don't understand.
Can I make a suggestion to the whoever's casting this show? Please pick some people from Love After Lockup. Can we please? You want to talk about tack? You want to tack? God, I can't talk. You want to talk about running a scam? Get some of I got a list of people you have from Love After Lockup, Life During Lockup, Life After Lockup. Where are they now? Like I'm telling you,
90 Day Fiance,
dude,
Married
90 Day Fiance, Sister Wives, all of them. Dude, get
my 10,000-pound sister. Isn't that one of those?
Yes.
Oh, the 1,000-pound sisters.
The 1,000-pound sisters. Get them in there. Let's go.
Smothered.
Okay, but we can't forget the originals like Rock of Love and Flavor of Love.
Right?
Like we got to bring some of those girlies out.
See, okay, I talked about this last week. No, I don't agree.
But
maybe somebody from Dance Moms, like let's bring like Abby Lee Miller into the Traitors. I would love that.
I just need Chance from this recent season of Love After Lockup to.
I'd love to see Omarosa play this game.
Oh, absolutely!
Play it with Chance from Love After Lockup.
I'd love to see Omarosa. I don't know.
Angela from 90 Day Fiance.
All right, so Simon, I wanted to ask you, like, because you haven't seen like Dan Giesling play Big Brother,
Right.
like Big Brother 25 was like your first season watching. So like, I really hyped up Dan to you preseason as like he's the best Big Brother winner of all time, like bar none. How are you feeling about Dan? Like, do you think he's like the walls are caving in on him? Like, is there any chance here for him? Give me some hope,
We're your
please.
real friends. You be honest with us. Don't worry about Tyler. This is a safe place.
I will tell you, I think Dan is doing a terrible job of this game, and I am shocked every time I tune into the podcast to hear and you are gassing up Dan. Like even last week, you were like, Dan's going all the way, and I cannot understand it. He's giving me what like every season has this like overconfident, like it's always a guy who's a traitor and thinks he's always in control, but he's just like really not self-aware. And that was the biggest.
Andrew?
That was the. Huh?
Ooh,
What?
Joke. Sorry.
You said Andrew?
Oh no. I think that the biggest giveaway was like in episode 3 even, or like 2 or 3. Like people were already throwing Dan's name out, and Dan was like, "Oh yeah, no one is seeing, like no one thinks it could possibly be me." And it's like people are talking about him. They haven't brought it to the round table at that point. And it's just that lack of self-awareness is it's kind of like the biggest reason that traitors fail, I think, is because they don't understand how they're being perceived by other people in the house.
Yeah.
And now
And
we're
it's
seeing
a
it come to
shame.
a head.
Yeah, it's a shame because like Phaedra and Parvati are like literally trying to tell him. Like at the end of this episode was like everybody's like asking Dan like, all right, throw out some names. Like who do you think are like traitors? And he just keeps like dragging his feet on like saying
Yeah.
any names. Like any names. Like he's telling literally whole rooms like I'm going to sleep on it tonight. And like when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna throw a name out there and like and that's who like I don't miss when I strike, like this type of bullshit. And then like in the room like with Parvati and Phaedra, he says the same thing to them.
He says the same thing, and they called him out. They're like, "You're doing the same thing to us." And he's like, "What is this?
I
A
know.
round table or Traitor's Tower?" And it's
Yeah.
like it's so terrible. And like after he narrowly escaped getting banished at the round table, and then he says to everyone, "For those who wrote my name down, no hard feelings." And it's just like, what? Like they still suspect you, Dan. Like especially now that Janelle's gone, especially now. So he's just in a worse place every episode.
You know who's low key, in my opinion, who doesn't get enough credit? John. Did you see him putting effort into those animal sounds? He was not only making the sounds, he was acting like them too. I was like, yes.
I just forgot he was there until you just mentioned him, Allison.
I just love how you forget that, and then you see him walk through it, going across the living room, and then all of a sudden he just pops up with his peanut gallery 2 cents, turns around the table, and everyone's listening to him. It's like, yeah, okay.
But his 2 cents was accusing Kevin.
Yeah. You're an actor, we all know, and I'm a politician.
I'm like, John, bless your heart. Sit down, it's fine.
Right.
But
John
no,
Sheree.
like, go ahead, Andrew. I know you're like,
well, no, it pains me to say this, but I agree with you, Simon. I thought last week Tyler was an idiot, but
I didn't say an idiot.
Oh, I did.
You can. It's fine.
It was okay.
He doesn't always hear what we say. But that's okay.
I'm the problem. It's me. I think that this episode is going to be telling for Dan. I think Janelle going here sets up best for Dan to make this move against Parvati or Phaedra and pull himself in as a faithful. And I'm getting very much like when he was like, okay, guys, I've had this suspicion I'm getting very much Dan funeral vibes, like 100% set up for the funeral of Dan. And the one person that really could have called him on it just walked out of the game. So as much as I was a week ago thinking Tyler's in Lululand, if he can pull out what he's setting up, he's going to go the distance.
But who's going to listen to him? Who's going to listen to Dan? He hasn't been like building these like teams of people who like want to hear him and respect what he has to say. Because he hasn't thrown out any names at all, any suspicions.
But we were saying the same thing after he was in solitary confinement for 24 hours on his deathbed, ready to go. Who's going to listen to Dan? And every single damn person did.
And they've learned from that mistake.
That's true. Like that's a good point though, Allison, is like Kate coming in and like clocking Dan like right away. That tells me that like she might be the influence to like really like seal the deal that Dan is going to go home next. Like especially now that Janelle is out of the game and she is revealed as a faithful, right? Like there's no, like especially like MJ. There's no way MJ doesn't get back on the Dan train like after this vote, right, Jackie?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, and I think that Parvati and Phaedra should capitalize on this. Like, I think like it's time to use Dan's own words against him. Like, time to offer up some blood, and I think that blood is going to be Dan's, unfortunately.
Could you imagine Dan being like, I've got somebody clocked since the moment they started playing this game.
That's next week, yeah.
Kate Chastain, for the week you've been here, you're the name I'm going to give.
Oh, you know what? That would be so typical of Dan if he did that. I'd be pissed. I mean, dude,
I was
so-
hoping he
Just
should have
say
did it at the
you
banishment.
are a traitor.
He
Yeah.
should have did it at the banishment. It would have made so much sense. I would have been like, all right, sure, go with Kate, Dan. Sure, fine.
Sure, Dan.
But-
And Dan also would also probably so the person I've been clocking since day one self-ejected himself because he couldn't handle playing the game. That's why I couldn't say anything because I've been so upset about it. And now you're making me say it and I don't want to, and I am.
Dan came into this game with a preset strategy, and I truly believe his preset strategy was, I have to do better than Sari did last year because I have to prove that I'm the best at this game like I try to prove that I'm the best at Big Brother. And I think his preset strategy was at one point in time to flip on a traitor to make it look like he was a faithful, and I think the stars have aligned for this week that to happen, and it's either going to propel him to the game or he's going to go out in the sixth episode.
But this happens. Sorry,
Oh, go ahead. Simon.
I just want to add in response to that, Andrew. Like people try that all the time. People like traitors betray other traitors, and then like a lot of the time, people see through it. The faithful see through it. They're like, oh, like they call it for exactly what it is, which is he's trying to look extra innocent. And sometimes people say things like, wow, like how did like no one had anything on like if he goes for Phaedra, like no one had anything on Phaedra. Where did that come from? Did he ever even talk to Phaedra? Like he seems to have psychic powers. Isn't that a bit suspicious? Like some people, that's sometimes that happens.
But it's gonna be, it's not gonna be Phaedra. It's gonna be Parvati, and it's gonna be off of the Peter suspicion, which gives him the ammunition.
Yeah, I still think that he's not long for this world. I think the people are going to kill him or like banish him pretty soon. Even if he goes for Parvati next.
We got a comment from Nate La Rocha. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. He said, y'all need to watch Sharon Tharp's exit interview with Janelle. She spilled the tea that we didn't see on the show. Nate, let us know what I haven't seen that exit interview, so let us know. Spill the tea here so we can talk about it.
What are your thoughts, Jackie?
So I hope that Dan is not trying to compare his game to Sari because Sari was given 10 sheeple to help play her game.
He was. That's what I'm saying.
Dan is he is up against all odds.
Yeah.
So
10
I hope
Izzies.
that is
Yeah, literally.
1 Andy equals 10 Izzies. Yes, I agree.
We were talking about it in the chat. Do you think that some of these people are playing like Big Brother rookies right now? Too hard, too fast, not, you're trying to play a certain way and it's not working out, but you're just so, it feels like that Dan is making rookie mistakes in the Traitors that you would see a rookie who's never played Big Brother make on their first season and they're voted out first.
Are you
I do
asking,
think
is this
that,
Celebrity Big Brother?
Yeah. Well, do you think he will go to Celebrity Big Brother when they bring it back?
I do think that like the pace of the game is something that Dan is not used to, right? Like Big Brother takes so effing long to get out like one person. Like it is just like a snooze fest from start to finish, right? So like Dan like is able to like take his time, right? Like, and we see that like he's like playing a little too slow, a little too cautiously. And I feel like the pace of this game is just not for like a Big Brother player. And that's why like Sari, like she was used to Survivor instead of Big Brother when she went on the Traitors. So like I see that, and that's why like Parvati I think is like doing a better job like in the traitor role than Dan, because she's used to that faster pace and like time is money with these kind of things. I think Dan he just thinks that there's just like too much time on the clock, I guess.
Yeah,
it makes a difference.
This isn't a game you have a week to play. I have to agree with B Bean. Dan is playing Big Brother instead of the Traitors.
Yeah.
You don't have a week. There's not a HOH. There's not 2 nominees. There's not a veto. There's not all of these things, and you have 7 days to make it happen. This is very limited. You got to do it quick. So then sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm not going to say anything." Dude, you got to say something. You have to say. I don't care if you pull a name out of your ass. I don't care if you say Alan. Well, you can't say Alan. He's the host. You asked for a name.
Yeah.
And start naming people who are gone. Bananas. I mean, who cares? Say freaking something, Daniel.
Then,
Go ahead, Simon. You're good.
like one thing that, so we were talking about Suri, like one thing Suri did really well last season is that she like found people who would never write her name down. Like she forged relationships with people and then she just protected them. Yeah, she just went all the way with them. And I don't think that Dan has anyone who would never write his name down.
Yeah.
Simon, I want you to read this comment from the king.
At this point, waiting for Dan to say, "Who wants to see my HOH room?"
True. Coming.
Yeah.
That's
Go back
funny.
to that Dave
Who wants to
LaRocca
see what?
comment. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
So Nate said, basically Janelle said she knew Dan and Parvati were traitors from the beginning, and Janelle felt like she was on the bottom of the Gamers Alliance. Everyone thought Janelle was responsible for Ek and Sue's death, and Janelle got mad at Dan because she was getting the heat for it.
So, my opinion.
Janelle was eating this game, and I was so devastated when she was banished because I knew, like, she was playing like how I would play. Like, okay, I know who these people are. Like, I know you're the traitor, so I'm gonna shut up. I'm not gonna draw heat to myself, but I'm gonna shut up. Maybe I could be a shield for you, but I'm gonna shut up because I know it's you, and I'm gonna wait for my time to strike. And she lost it.
But you got to say a name right. That's what Bina's saying. If you do not say name, you are considered a traitor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But if you're too loud, you're also considered a traitor. So it's
crazy.
It's a tough spot to be in. You have to like walk that line. And I think, was it Berkey at the round table who said in front of everyone about Janelle, he's like, Janelle, if she were a traitor, she wouldn't be doing all this. Like she wouldn't be so loud and so accusatory. And he's so spot on.
Needed to keep her.
All you gotta do is look for the 3 quietest people in the room. Hello?
Well,
Parvati
I would say
doing this the whole
CT.
time.
I would say CT is one of those people.
Yeah.
CT has been so boring on this show. I'm sorry. I know he's like the challenge superstar.
This is CT every time someone says at the round table that he's a every freaking time his eyes, and I love CT. It's just hilarious. And then Dan just sits there just sweating profusely the whole time. And Phaedra is literally the only one who could be sitting there with a cigarette going, I'm not a traitor.
Oh my God. I would love to see that. Like a long, thin cigarette.
Yes.
Yeah, I could totally see it. But yeah, like you're right. Like CT is just so like it feels like he's asleep. Like you said, Jackie. It feels like he's like waking up from a nap every time somebody like says his name. I just like I'm a little disappointed. Yeah. Like he's such a legend in the challenge. But like he just like is really in over his head. I wish Trishelle would like steer him like a little more.
Trishelle, I'm disappointed she's not freaking balls deep drunk on red wine, slithering across the freaking round table, grabbing Dan by his lapel. You are the traitor. I'm serious. It's gotta happen.
Yeah, Trishelle was just not even in this episode, I don't think.
Yeah, except to talk about her like mittens or gloves or whatever.
Oh, right.
Those are like the weirdest things.
Right there.
I know, right?
And to win the shield. She won the shield.
Did they show them win the shield?
Mm-hmm.
Did I not see that? Is that when I went to the bathroom? Every time I go pee.
There's a pause button.
It's called the pause.
I don't have time for that.
Does your VHS not do that?
I'm 46. When it hits, I gotta go. If I don't know where the remote is, it's either my undies or the remote. I can't.
Does your VHS tape not? Does your VHS tape not have
the
pause?
tracking's no good after I unpause it. It just turns to shit and tracks.
Listen, just remember to rewind it before you return it back to Blockbuster, Allison.
Oh my God.
So I have
about the Janelle comment real quick, and then I wanted to add to this. We also have to remember it's Janelle. And Janelle is the best player to ever play the game in the mind of Janelle.
Okay.
And I think that it didn't matter who the two traitors were or the three traitors were. Janelle was going to walk out of that game, find out who the two traitors were, and say, I knew it was them the whole time.
I agree with that. Like, it's so easy to like say in like exit interview stuff like, "Oh, I knew the whole time that that's who it was." Like, I don't know that I totally agree, Andrew. I don't know that I fully believe that.
Well, I want to say about Janelle, I think that, and you let me know what you guys think of this. I think where Janelle went wrong today, and the reason that she got banished is because at the round table she threw out 3 names instead of just one.
Yes.
Like, she was going for Dan.
Mhm.
She should have just said Dan, but she said
would've had
CT,
support.
and then she said Sandra, and Sandra, of course, reacts the way that Sandra reacts to her name getting thrown out, and distracts the whole thing and throws it back at Janelle. And now they're fighting, and no one's talking about Dan anymore. And I think if she had just said Dan, she like probably could have gotten Dan out.
Yeah, and listen, as far as I'm concerned, even if I don't have a name, if I'm sitting at the round table, whether I'm a traitor or not, the first person that says my freaking name, even if I believe you're a faithful, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna ram you so hard and dry, you're gonna feel it forever. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I will bring everything to the light. I will make up shit. I will make up who you were talking to, and it might just so happen to be people that are gone and can't back me up. I'm gonna still use them. I'm telling you, don't cross me with that.
So Jackie, you think that say Janelle just throws out Dan's name. Like, do you think like this round table went like totally different?
Absolutely, because what was his name? Kevin. Kevin even said it when he was sitting with like Dan and a couple others. Like, Janelle's name gets thrown out, and then some red herring comes out, and then her name is gone. And the same thing just happened with Dan. Dan's name was thrown out. If Janelle would have just stuck to it, she would have had Peter's support. She would have had John's support. She would have had Bergie's support. There would have been just random people who would have bandwagoned on that. Phaedra and Parvati probably would have been backed into a corner because Janelle would have had evidence. Now there would have been all these other conversations about Dan, and Dan would have been in trouble.
Yep.
That's a good point.
Back on what Simon said, I think Sandra looks bad now. Based on her response and then Janelle flipping faithful, I think Sandra looks pretty. Like, I'm thinking as that fight's going down and Sandra's like, it's you, and Janelle's like, it's you. I don't think Sandra comes out of this looking pretty. And if it's not Dan or Parvati this week, I do think it's Sandra. I think it's one of the 3.
Can we address this? It's from last week. Can I please, the king, question though, why everybody play dumb, forget that Parvati was trying to get people to drink out of a rodeo cup?
Kate talked about it.
They did talk about it.
Do you want some of this? Anybody? Just to drink out of, just take a sip. No reason. No particular. You? Come on. You're looking thirsty.
Didn't even Kate say something about that? Like, I went drink from Parvati or something.
Yes. Actually, the way that she said it, she was like, I'm not taking any wine from Pavarti.
Pavarti. Look, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm drinking out of it.
I think the better question is because clearly they did talk about it. Like, they told Kate, and I think it was even Phaedra who told Kate. There were like several of them in the room. But the real question is, why didn't they show that to us on the show? Like, why didn't they show us or people telling Kate that Parvati might have been the person who poisons Ekin-Su? And I don't know what that's about. What do you guys think?
Maybe it's just like gentle foreshadowing for like Parvati being the target next week. I don't know.
But did Ekin-Su notice that it was Parvati that gave her that cup? Did she ever bring it up?
Well, she's dead.
That's true.
Can't bring up shit.
No.
I think it was a response to Parvati saying like a joke to someone want to drink out of my cup. And I think from what I heard and what I remember, and now I need to go back and rewatch it, Parvati, I think, made the joke, does anyone want to drink out of my chalice or drink out of my cup? And Kate's response was, I'm not drinking out of Parvati's cup. So I don't think it was somebody telling that to her. I think Parvati made a joke and Kate responded to said joke.
Gotcha.
Could not be.
I don't remember Parvati being even in the room because that was just at the very end of this episode 5. So
Yeah.
maybe you're right. I'd have to go look, but it wasn't obvious, at least, what was going on exactly.
Yeah. Andrew, I do want to like just one more thing about Sandra, like her spot being blown up a little bit and like getting a little heat. Like because you made a bold claim in the last recap that you think Sandra is the ultimate winner at the end of this whole thing. Do you still believe that after this whole? No, you're a traitor, bitch.
You're a traitor, bitch.
To be fair, I thought she was going at the beginning of the thing. I was like, well, there goes my whole dang theory. Like, I thought she was going to be the one to die because they're like chaos. They're like, let's create chaos and kill someone. And it's either Tamra or Sandra. And I'm like, how does Tamra, like, there's no chaos there. Like, there's no
Like literally, I'm having to
confusion.
remember who you're talking about.
I know, but the end game is going to be so good. Like, keep getting these filler people out.
And so and then I don't and then when she was and then again we get to the round table and Sandra's like, I know who it is. And I'm like, say Dan, do what I said you were gonna do. Janelle. And I'm like, oh God.
Well, that's a Sandra thing though, right? She's gonna go with the numbers. As long as it ain't me, she's gonna go with the numbers.
She's gonna go with the numbers, or she's gonna go with whoever's targeting her. One of the two. And in this case, it just happened to be she got the best of both worlds.
Dare I
Don't
say
quit your
I
day
hope she
job,
gets
Andrew.
murdered?
Sandra,
Ooh.
not happening.
I mean, this would be a good time to do it, though, right? Like after, like she has like all this heat on her.
She does,
They
but
even
also
look
if
yeah,
you
that's
murder
She
true.
would
her,
murder
who are
her.
the traitors?
No, they
What do you
haven't.
think, Simon?
I don't think that they're gonna murder Sandra this episode. I mean, they didn't even talk about murdering Sandra this episode. I don't. What do I think about what?
Like, do you think that like she could be a target for the next murder? Like, I guess we can speculate
I
just
think-
overall. Like, who do we think is the next murder?
I don't think that she's the next murder, and I think that she is a possible pick for recruitment. I think it would be really spicy if she gets recruited later, and I think she could go. I mean, I think she could go all the way as a traitor.
I don't know if
Parvati
Parvati would
and
ever.
Sandra?
Yeah, I don't think
Parvati
so.
and Sandra forced to work. Oh my God.
No, it could be Parvati recruits Sandra because she thinks that she can, because she knows that there will be like a fire between Sandra and Parvati at some point, and she thinks that she can win that and then prove her faithfulness or something like that.
I
by
mean, what an
getting
excellent
Sandra out.
position for Phaedra and Dan, though. Like, if they recruited Sandra, then all of the attention is on the drama between the two of them.
What if Dan goes next week? Do you
It's
really
possible.
think Parvati's going to go to Phaedra? We need to get Sam. I wouldn't do that. Just there's no way, because if it comes down to it, she's going to take the money and run, and you're going to be standing there. I
Trishelle
think
could
it's
be
gonna
the next
Dan-
murder.
Who? Oh, yeah.
Next murder,
Trishelle.
Trishelle.
Yeah.
Nobody's dying.
That could happen.
Nobody is dying.
They're going to kill
don't think so?
Bergie.
They're gonna kill the
And if
shield.
Did you guys see the next week on
Yeah.
the Traitors?
I didn't see the trailer. No.
Because they play at the end of the episode. They're like, next week on the Traitors. They actually kind of spoilered a little bit. I don't know if we want to talk about
no,
that
you
on
can
here.
spoil it. Yeah, yeah.
Because
What
they
happened?
showed, they like flashed the round table
Yes.
from
everyone
next
was
week,
there.
and everyone was there.
Did you pause
Oh.
it, Simon? Did you pause it?
I paused it.
Oh well,
Yeah,
oh,
everyone
so
was
you know
there.
they're probably gonna try. I pause it too. I think they're gonna try and kill Bergie, but remember, Bergie has a shield.
That's
So then-
They're gonna try to kill Bergie.
Yeah. So then is this when Ryan and Bergie say, like, all right, like they fell into our trap. Like, Dan, you
And
gotta
they
go.
go for Dan. Peter comes out and says, this is what I've been saying the whole episode. Peter comes out and says, it's the 3. And just like in that same scene from the next episode is where Dan says, I know who it is. I've been sitting on this the whole game. And that's where, if it's not him and it's got to be one of the 3, he pins it on Parvati.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
That's what I've been.
Oh,
I guess
baby.
I didn't preface that I saw this on the next time Dan saying that. It's 100. Like that's what I've been trying to say this whole game is we're going to see this Parvati, Dan, Sandra round table where they're going to know based on Peter's trap, it's one of the 3, and that's where I think Dan is going to take the shot at Parvati.
Whew, this
All
is
right, but-
spicy. I can't wait. I can't wait for next week. Like if all this fan fiction is true, like I am
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, but I really, really, really don't want them to just start throwing shields around like they do idols on Survivor. Because when I saw that there was going to be 2 shields, I was like, oh, here we
Well, that's a
go.
downgrade. There's been 3 every other time.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Simon, you have a little bit more actually a lot more traders experience than me. Has any other of the international seasons been this creative with the use of the shield?
With the use of the shield, as in like the way that they
Like-
acquire it.
The way Peter just kind of tried to flip it so that way they could bait the traders into murdering someone. I don't remember seeing it, but where? I want to see it.
Yeah, there have been some really smart or some ambitious, at least I should say, like shield moves, like what Peter's doing. I think Peter kind of undermined his whole thing at the round table when he accused Dan, which tipped off Parvati that the whole thing was fake. But it was a cool effort, and I've seen some of that. If you want to see a really great season where they try that, France season 2 does that. There's some stuff which is also my favorite season of the Traitors ever. And just for anyone listening, if you can find a way to watch the Traitors France season 2, it's really, really good. You won't be disappointed. The final episode, the entire episode is the round table. They devote an entire episode to the final round table, and it is the best. It is the best episode of like reality TV I've ever seen. It's so good. I love it.
I feel like we're heading in that direction though, like with the setup and this cast, like, and I could see that come to a head like next week. Like, say like all of this stuff like it does come out, especially like with them falling into that shield trap that they like put out. I could see this roundtable being like one for the ages. I'm very excited. Vivian wants to know, is France season in English?
It's not. It's in French.
Okay.
But yeah, there is not really, unless you have a VPN, like a really good way to watch legitimately some of the international seasons. So
do you speak French?
Gotcha.
I do not, but there are ways to get it with subtitles.
Okay.
That may be like less than legit.
You can say it's fine. We're
You're not going to get in trouble here.
Yeah,
you're fine.
There's a subreddit. There's a subreddit called the Traitors Archive, and they have links to download some of these seasons. You can also just kind of any of you guys can like hit me up if you want like a direct link.
But I have a VPN. I'm just saying.
Very nice. Yeah.
Jackie's like, I'm bookmarking that tab.
I would love to make some recommendations for like the English speaking seasons though. If anyone wants to watch like some of the other English ones.
Go for it.
My favorite, I got to go with Jackie here. I think Australia season 1 is so good. I really love that season, especially after like episode like 5 or 6. Like it just doesn't stop. It's just like back to back banger episodes all the way to the end.
And right up on everything, right? You watch Survivor Australia?
I've heard that Survivor's really good too.
Yeah, it just started. I downloaded episode 1. I can't wait to watch it.
Tyler, we know.
Australia season 2 is it's a kind of polarizing season. I would say I didn't really enjoy it. I thought that the final episode was really good, but the rest of the season really hard to watch. UK season 2 is excellent. UK season 2 is good. I liked UK season 1 a lot more personally. I just felt like really attached to the characters from UK season 1. That season, UK season 1 made me cry like 3 times. Wow. and then I rewatched it with my girlfriend, and I cried at the same spots. It gave me a lot of like. It's just like a really passionate season. A lot of people on that show are like really emotional and very passionate. It's contagious. So those are my 2 favorite English-speaking international seasons.
I have a question for everyone. If you were, and each person has to answer, if you were playing the Traitors, would you be an emotional player or a passionate player? Tyler, go first.
A passionate player.
Can you explain the difference to me in emotion and passion?
Oh, God.
To me, passion has a drive behind it. Emotionally, just flipping out. And we
So
all know
Allison
I'd
or
be
Andrew's
emotional.
got it. Yeah,
We
I
all
was gonna say
know.
Allison would be emotional.
Simon,
Oh, I would be a passionate player.
Jackie would be passionate.
I'm emo all day. Black
Yeah.
nail polish crying.
Girl,
all
you and
day,
me
emo.
both. We'd have to straighten
So-
each other. We'd be slapping each other back into.
Y'all would be making the good TV though. Like these shows need some emotional players.
I'm gonna disagree with Allison and Jackie, and tell you how I think you would feel, because that's what I do. And this is coming from the experience of actually being on The Hustler, right? I think you two would be passionate players, and I think I would be a passionate player because you know your why when you go into the game. When I went into The Hustler, I had a picture of Bria in my coat pocket the entire time, knowing that I can be an emotional and a passionate player. But I went in there with the goal of doing something for my daughter and bringing something home for my daughter. And that passion for my daughter bled into my passion into the game. And I think Allison would get in there and Jackie would get out in there, and you would know Cloud and you would know your children and you would know this stuff. And I think that why and that focus and that purpose would make you passionate players.
I would actually have a picture of myself in my pocket. And I would pull it out and go, bitch.
I was here trying to be so emotional and supportive and give you this really good, and you're like, it would be.
Do I get to leave my uterus at home?
Screw all these people. I've had enough.
Very emotional.
Andrew, sounds like you would be the emotional player here.
Tyler, I have a question for you before I
yeah,
because you've said this multiple times that you are happy that we've lost a lot of these filler players, right?
Yeah.
And you're happy that this has happened and you want more of them to go so this can happen. My question is, and this happens in Big Brother seasons all the time, we get these fillers gone, but we still have a lot of filler left. If a big player like Dan or Sandra or Parvati goes home this week, does that start a chain reaction of bigger players leaving to leave more filler towards the end?
I hope not. Like, I think, like, if one of them gets caught, like, say, like, Dan goes home, like, say Dan's banished next week, right? I feel like that would satisfy the fillers, like, enough to be like, all right, we did it. Like, we've, like, won the game now, right? And then, like, they wouldn't be thinking about, like, there's no way they would have their radar on Phaedra. Like, maybe Parvati after Dan goes, but, like, not Phaedra. Like, I think that Phaedra is, like, the ultimate winner at the end of this thing. Like, that's like, the vibe that I'm getting right now. So like, it would be interesting to see like, if they do recruit somebody, like if it's like Sandra or something, but, there's still a few heavy hitters that I like on the faithful side that I think could like still give us like, I'm team good TV here. Right. So like, I'm even saying like cut like CT, like I want the end to be like Sandra and Trishelle. And I guess like Peter has earned
big players, and you said Trishelle. She hasn't done anything.
I didn't say big player. I said good TV. That's what I want is team TV. I think Peter has earned his space here as well. He can stay for now.
You want Kate?
Like, of course, yeah, Kate. Like, say like that's like the remaining faithfuls with like the traitors still left in the game. That would be so fun. Like, what an exciting finish line that would be. So like, I just want good TV.
The problem with that is, Tyler, and knowing Traitors and Mafia type of history, if Peter's plan works and Dan goes home or Parvati goes home, Peter is the next to be executed because he looks like the biggest faithful in the whole entire world. He is the easiest pick off at that point in time.
Oh gosh, that's so true.
If this works, Peter is 1 to 2 weeks from being dead.
I think they need to get rid of Bergie as soon as he's unshielded. Did you see how he acted at the end of the round table? They're like, oh, the shock. Well, not to everyone.
That's another thing, though, Allison.
No, I don't think that didn't he say you all are listening to the traitors, or you're falling for the traitors lies or whatever. And then who was it? Someone was like, I think it was Sheree. She was like, I just voted based off of how she was acting. And then he's like, okay, well, for some people, for
Yeah.
some of you, you're
For
falling for the
some.
traitors.
But Allison, you bring up a great point, and that doesn't happen often. Hey, you got me earlier. That was payback. If the plan works and no one dies, that also clears Trishelle or Birdie.
Yeah.
That makes one of those two 100% faithful, because that means no one dies, someone with the shield got shot, and clears one of those two. So Bergie would be looking pretty dang faithful if he didn't already after this no death.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
Oh, these underdogs just climbing up to the top.
I know. Like,
now.
I almost feel like the format of the show really encourages like fillers to be like left at the end, and like of course like
Yeah.
same can be said about Big Brother. That's how we get like Bowie, Jane, and and Jag and Matt at the end of BB25. But I don't know. I have faith. Call me faithful. I have faith that like these reality TV titans are not going to let that happen.
Do we know what's going on with Bowie Jane right now?
Who?
Any updates?
No
Who
idea.
won Big Brother? I don't even remember. Who won?
No. Wait,
Jag.
who is this Bowie Jane
Jag?
you speak of?
Never mind. See, I can't even remember. It hasn't even been that long.
I had to, JB. I had to.
Go ahead.
All right. Any more thoughts before we
I want to say
here?
that
B Bean's a great point. B Beans makes a really good point. A Peter or
Yeah.
Birdie recruit at that point would be a really big thing. What was your sticky note, JB? I missed it.
I kind of want Sandra to be murdered. I have hope for Dan. I want Parvati to go, and that's the only way that she can go.
Oh, I don't know. I hope not. Simon, what were you going to say?
Go ahead.
I just want to say for if you like these kinds of deception games and you want to like play them IRL, like there's of course there's Werewolf, but this is like really based heavily on the game Werewolf, but it's also there's another really great game that I think is even better, which is called Blood on the Clock Tower. You generally you need like a larger group to play, so if you can get a group together, it's a fantastic game. Blood on the Clock Tower, it's called.
We should do like a game night where we like get a bunch of people and then like play this like online. That would be so fun.
One thing that
would be fun.
One thing that game does that I would love to see them implement into the Traitors is every single person in Blood on the Clock Tower, whether you're on the good team or the bad team, every single person has a unique ability and a unique like power that they get to use. As opposed to like in Werewolf, where you've got like the one like the werewolf who's killing people and like the person who's like saving people, and then a lot of other people just have their eyes closed every night. Blood on the Clock Tower is like there's a lot more puzzle pieces. So for the good team, you actually can kind of try to logic puzzle everything together if you can piece together all the information that you trust. Because I'm watching the Traitors, it's like always kind of hard to, in the early episodes, especially where there's nothing to go on. Like no one has any information, and they're just blindly throwing out accusations. And you kind of wish you had a little bit more clues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Simon, is there a game that people can play? And I'm asking for a friend that has a voodoo doll, and you can just stab it and wait for reactions at random, just for fun. Just
Oh my god!
in a group playing on StreamYard.
I guess you can do that if you want, Allison. But I don't think
I don't think you need a game to do that.
Nicolas Cage narrated.
Me being the voodoo doll, so I came out of the screen as quick as I possibly
could. I'm message. I'm the most uncoordinated person to play any kind of games. Now I'll watch y'all play a game and narrate the whole thing.
Allison would accidentally herself, and she thinks she's poking me, and she's like, "Ow! Ow!"
Why does this hurt? Why is this hurting me when I'm stabbing you? Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll end on that voodoo pokey needle note, I guess. But yeah, really looking forward to next week's episode. Like I said last week, it feels like this like slow boil is happening to just like epic blowout fight between like Dan, Parvati, Phaedra, and now that Kate's in the mix, like who knows what's gonna happen. Very, very excited. Any last thoughts before we
I thought Dr. Will was showing up.
He's coming.
Is he?
He's coming. I don't know when, but I think he's hosting a challenge.
He's gonna do the final jury roundtable.
Okay. Fine.
Very funny.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I didn't know.
There is
Jury
no jury
roundtable.
roundtable. There's no jury.
Nothing shocks me anymore. It's official. Nothing.
My final plug is watch Australia season 1 on Peacock, and also UK season 1 on Peacock. They're both great.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw that on Peacock that I could watch that one. So I'm going to check them out. I really am. And guys, please subscribe to My Weekly Meltdown on YouTube. You get notifications when we go live if you hit the little bell button. Also, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com/My Weekly Meltdown. It's in the body, the links in the body of this video.
Allison, you know that saying www dot is like very irrelevant in 2024.
It doesn't matter. It means
Sounds
the
like you're
World
about
Wide
to
Web.
say AOL.com.
It's in the World Wide Web.
surprised
What's wrong
I'm
with
surprised
AOL?
you say HTTP //
Right.
Did you see the show I did by myself a few weeks ago? I said HTTPS :
I think I missed that one on accident.
on accident. Tyler doesn't watch the show. He's not in. We all know. We all know.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right. Simon, thank you for joining us. Yeah. We would love for you to come back again.
Thank you so much for having me. I would love to come back anytime. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, Simon, stay back. We're gonna chat like after we go offline. But everybody have a great rest of your night. Take care, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.